Alright, so a month ago I actually uploaded a video showcasing 10 spooky camps that were submitted to me from this Halloween camp contest that I started 2 months ago. And when the contest officially ended and I had to boil it down to 10 camps to showcase to the community, I realized there were others that I also wanted to show y'all just to spread a bit more creativity out to the camp community. Oh, and by the way, in case some of you are wondering what I'm showing here in the beginning, this was just simply made as an introduction for this video to introduce these spooky camps. You know, just something to help set the mood. This isn't something that I'll be going over and showcasing now. And just to let you all know, I am going to be ending it here. I'm not going to be showing any more spooky camps that were submitted a while back. These are the last submissions that I will be showcasing. You might recognize a few, if not all of them, that I did tease in the beginning of the previous video over showcasing 10 spooky camp submissions. Yeah, if you remember those or whatever, I'm just letting you know, they'll be in here. And keep in mind, these are ranked in no particular order either. These are just 10 other good camps that I thought I would show you all. And oh yeah, by the way, there are no cash prizes either for this selection. The cash prizes have already been given away in the previous selection that I did. Which, if you haven't seen that video, I'll have a link down below in the description to the first 10 spooky camp submissions that I showcased. This selection is primarily for entertainment, as well as maybe some inspiration. If you're looking for maybe a different spot to build at, there are plenty of good locations I go over within this video too. A lot of good choices for these different camp builds within this. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into these now. Okay, so I'm going to be starting this off with this pretty awesome Halloween attraction that this guy made on the PlayStation. As you can see, this is his tag on there. By the way, all the other creators' names will pop up on the screen as well, just like how in the previous showcase over the 10 spooky camps, if you saw that. First off, I just wanted to say that the location that this guy chose over by Alpine River Cabins is a fantastic location to build a spooky camp at. Just because around this area, it's pretty creepy because you can hear screams in the distance. Just adds a little bit of extra spookiness. Anyways, yeah, the location is a good setup to build a spooky camp. And this guy built this fun little Halloween attraction that you can experience. As soon as you enter into this place, you're just surrounded by spooky decorations to set the mood. Also, I believe this setup that he has going on here when we first enter is as if this is where people would be waiting in line at to enter into officially the attraction. At least that's the vibes I'm getting. But yeah, right after this part, you'll notice that he started to create this tight corridor out of haystacks. And I really thought this area right here that he set up was unique. He has a bunch of bones hanging from the ceiling, and you have to actually go through these bones to get to the other side because it is a tight corridor that you're going through once again. And as soon as you exit out of there, it opens up a little bit. You see a bunch of pumpkins, it looks like sitting around a fire with the Wendigo mount in the background. But carrying on, you can choose to go back down and experience the haystack tight corridor if you want to continue experiencing that style, or you can take the outskirts, and as you can see on the outskirts, he has a bunch of different doors that you can open up to experience different spooky themed rooms. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty exciting when he was opening up each door because I didn't know what I was going to be experiencing behind each door. Just kind of like how you would experience in an actual Halloween attraction. As some of you may know, sometimes when going through an actual attraction, you experience a bunch of different random stuff. For instance, you may experience like a clown in the beginning, and then at the end you may be coming across like a zombie doctor. What I'm trying to say is sometimes you never really know what you may be experiencing fully inside a Halloween attraction until you go and experience it. There can be a lot of random stuff to try to get a jump scare out of you. But yeah, I feel like that guy really pulled this off going through. And not to mention the bones too when going through the tight corridor. I've seen a setup similar in an actual Halloween attraction. It was a butcher attraction, and when we were going through it, we had to push this fake frozen meat hanging from the ceiling out of her way, and it was a tight corridor as well. Not to mention this fake frozen meat that was hanging from the ceiling was blocking our point of view as well, so we couldn't really see anything in front of us as much. The bones hanging from the ceiling inside this area reminded me of that experience. I'm sure some of you have been through some Halloween attractions yourself and have experienced some really random themed ones too. But yeah, speaking of butcher attraction, look, that's what he did one theme as for this room. You can see NukaViolet as, the butcher in the background, meat spelled out on the counter with the bloody meat piles right in front of it. Definitely an eerie setup going on in here. But yeah, that's all the spooky themed rooms he created. There were quite a few of them. Anyways, yeah, at the end here though, you can just loop around and it'll open up to the gift shop that he created, where he set up all his vending machines at. Just like your typical attraction that you go through in real life sometimes. At the end of the attraction, you have the gift shop of where you can get some souvenirs at or whatever. But yeah, he also has a bunch of Wendigo Colossus trophies set up in one corner, and on the other corner, I thought this was an interesting corridor. He created just this spooky atmosphere that you can experience right here. And the lighting that this place is giving off right here was really nice too. Overall, I enjoyed this camp. I like the theme to it. I like the experience we get going through it. I like the lighting as well in certain areas that we go through. It's extremely dark. And I feel like he made it like that on purpose so it'd be a bit more spooky. And, of course, can't forget, I really like the location as well for this camp. Having that extra spookiness in the background definitely helps create the scary atmosphere a bit more for the attraction. Okay, so this next camp was created by a guy who goes by XxDeadHunterxX on the Xbox. And first off, I just gotta say the location is really what made this build. He literally turned a pre-built structure that Bethesda added into the game into his camp. He didn't build any structures. He just added a bunch of decorations inside and around the pre-built structures that Bethesda have already added into the game. And speaking of that, it's pretty awesome how we can even place our camp here too and build inside this pre-built structure. And there is a little bit of a backstory too over this camp. He mentioned that some pumpkins came to life after the bombs dropped, and a lot of them grouped up here at this house. And he also mentioned that there's a caretaker here that takes care of the pumpkins, which, might I add, there's also an extra human NPC that'll spawn here too, not including your ally, whoever your ally might be. The human NPC will spawn over here to the left if you're looking at the house from the road here. Having extra human NPCs around can just help your camp feel more lively. And lastly, he said about these mysterious pumpkins that they only come to life on Halloween. But yeah, he has created this house just filled with pumpkins. 118 to be exact. Now keep in mind, there are a lot of them outside too. Not all of them are placed inside the pre-built structure that we can build in. Which I have to say, that is freaking awesome that we can. And one of the reasons why I wanted to definitely add this in this video, just to show you all this location too. Not to mention, it's a creative build alone. It's very Halloween-like seeing all the pumpkins around, and not to mention the colors and the decorations too. And the way he has like certain things set up seems as if this would be something you could actually find in the game. Now I'm not saying you could find all these pumpkins grouped up unless you go to the pumpkin house, of course, which apparently that's where they came from too. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, how he has everything set up seems as if this would be something Bethesda would actually create in the game. How he has things placed around, it's as if someone was actually living here and surviving. I feel like he does a really good job on placements of things to make it seem like that, as you can see from the outside right here. It looks as if, you know, Bethesda added all of this. And as you can see, before we entered inside the place, you could see all the pumpkins hanging out like they were having some kind of grill out. And then as soon as we enter inside here, you can notice all the pumpkins just once again hanging out as if they were alive or something. And carrying on throughout this pre-built structure, you will notice, you know, it's the same thing going on. It's pretty insane. And if you're looking for a pre-built structure to build in, this is definitely a location to check out. It's right by the Charleston Fire Department. This pre-built structure comes with 2 entrances, and it also comes with 1 porch, a living room / bedroom, and a bathroom. Oh yeah, and even an attic too. The attic is where we first enter at from the porch. I did mention there are 2 ways to enter this place in the beginning, but he has the back door barricaded off with all the pumpkins stacked here. And the reason why I believe he stacked all these pumpkins was for lighting for the kitchen. He didn't want to make it super bright, and he liked the lighting that the pumpkins gave off. But yeah, overall I thought this was a really creative spooky camp and a nice location to share with the community to build at. Next up here, I have a camp that was created by a guy who goes by ButWhyThough. And this guy created a really interesting camp with a whole backstory to it. Honestly, the backstory is what makes this camp so creative in my opinion. He chose this location out in the middle of nowhere at the ash heap. As you can see from Vault 76, it's located way down here, once again, in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, this spot is actually pretty good if you're trying to create some kind of creepy camp, just because of the unusual things you can find around here, such as, for one example, the skeletons that you can find in the water here. Very bizarre. And over here you can find like a sacrificial table or something. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but it looks eerie. And you can also find some cultist things around here as well. Very creepy area. But yeah, this guy created a building where it seems like researchers were living here, or a researcher was living here, and trying to figure out what was going on at this location. You can see a bunch of lights just shining down on the skeletons in the water too, right before you enter the building. Which, just adding those lights make it seem more like someone was investigating what happened here. And I like how the building is simple too, with not too much going on, but it still feels lived in. With how things are set up with like the furniture, decorations, and whatnot. But yeah, also this guy created his own little custom secret door and his own little custom shelter underground. And keep in mind, this build was before camp shelters released into the game. These were just some other submissions that I wanted to show, just because I thought 10 wasn't really enough, because there was loads of good submissions. But yeah, as you can see down here in this little custom vault he made, it's nicely decorated, and at the end of this little vault, this is what ties together the build. You can see that the researcher was trying to discover like what happened here, who did this and why. And as you can see on the back wall, I do not recognize the bodies in the water. So yeah, it's like someone was investigating this area. Overall, I think this is a really creative and unique build over using the location. Next up here, for all you Addams Family fans out there, I have for you Miscellaneous's camp. She built the Addams Manor with a bunch of different references to Addams Family within the build. First off, the location she chose is fantastic. It's up here next to Hopewell Cave. There's a graveyard up on top of Hopewell Cave. I don't know if y'all know about it or not, but it is a great location if y'all are trying to build some kind of spooky themed camp. Just having the graveyard around your camp just creates some extra spookiness. Also, I think she did a great job incorporating the Addams Manor in the game with what the game limits us to. I think she really pulled off the Addams Manor look overall with the architecture. Anyways, heading on in, some things to note that she did mention to me, that only one Halloween item was used in this build, and some Addams Family movie references that are in this include Gomez's train, which is upstairs right here. The strangle vines in the conservatory, which, by the way, real quick, I love how she actually incorporated Morticia and Gomez during the tour over this Addams Manor camp build. It just helps tie it together even more, having the actual characters here during the tour. You could tell she definitely took some time creating this. Not only the camp build itself, but the characters too, to help this camp come more to life. Anyway, some other references she noted was Lurch's organ, the upright piano, which you can see in this room, also the sword above the fireplace in this room as well. Very well thought out. It's cool seeing camps based off like other things. For some examples, in the previous 10 scary camps that I showed off, someone made a camp based around It, someone also made a camp based around Friday the 13th, and someone also added like a little Shining reference in their camp. It's cool just seeing the creativity that some players have over what they could do within their camp. Anyway, speaking of creativity, back to this Addams Manor build, she also even added the secret room too. To top it off, she created her own little custom secret entrance to it as well. As you can see here, it is in action. She has a trap underneath this dresser here, which opens up to this room. Pretty neat little secret custom entrance. Oh, and she also even added a reference to Fester's lover that tried to take him out with a radio in the bathtub. As you can see here, once again, just loads of references to the Addams Family within this one build. It's very creative. I feel like I'm on repeat though saying that. Anyways, lastly, she did mention that she was going to add a gold club on the Widow's Walk, you know, the roof, but she ran out of budget unfortunately. But yeah, once again, overall a very creative build. Loved the location of it, loved the idea behind it being referenced toward Addams Family, and loved how she even incorporated the characters during the tour over this whole Addams Family build. But yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this next one. Okay, so next up here I have for y'all a spooky Halloween themed cabin that was created by Celji. First off, this camp build is located up by the Alice in Wonderland Easter egg. I don't know if y'all have ever discovered that or not, but it's up here a little above Anchor Farms. As you can see, you can find a table here with a bunch of goodies on it. And this table with all this stuff on it is referencing the tea party scene in Alice in Wonderland. Pretty neat little Easter egg, especially if you didn't know about it. And you can notice how the build is incorporated with it right outside the cabin here. Oh yeah, and this can also be a spawn location too after drinking Nuka Shine. You know, when you black out and then randomly spawn at a location, this is one of the locations that you can spawn at. So yeah, that would be an interesting experience, just waking up here and seeing all this. But yeah, as you can notice, there are tons of Halloween decorations around. And not to mention all of the trees she placed around this build to make this cabin seem a bit more isolated and in the middle of nowhere. I also like how it seems like the windows are boarded up by using weapon racks. I thought that was really creative. Yeah, the living room here is highly decorated. And just adding the mounts to the pictures as well is a simple but nice touch. Also, check out the display. It kind of looks like some kind of critter or something would be living in the display case. They fused plants with the display case underneath, and then added super mutant body parts in there to make it seem like that was like the food or something for the critter that's living in there. I also like how this death claw looks as if it's coming out of the TV, like from the movie The Ring or something. Also, check out these Vault Boy statues. This is something I really like. I've never seen this done before until this build. I mean, I'm sure there's others out there that have done this, don't get me wrong whatsoever. But this is the first time I've seen this, and I thought this was a really creative touch on the Vault Boys. As you can see, Celji just added pumpkin heads with different expressions for each Vault Boy on them. I thought that was a really creative way on creating, you know, your own kind of Halloween decoration. But yeah, that's about it for this build. It's just a spooky little cabin with a lot of Halloween decorations around, not to mention some really creative ones as well that may give you some inspiration or something, such as once again the boarded up windows by using the weapon racks. It's such a simple but awesome little detail to add onto your windows if you're trying to make your building seem abandoned. Anyways, next up here I have for you a Halloween attraction that was created by a guy who goes by Dead Hunter. This guy created a corn maze that enters into a sinister clinic. His corn maze that he has created, he put dirt tiles at the bottom so he could add corn crops, and then he added haystacks on the side to make it a very tight corridor when going through, to make it seem more like a maze. Also, you're splashing through water too when going through this. Overall, really like the theme of this. I know what some of you may be thinking, it's pretty random that we're going through a corn maze to get to some kind of sinister clinic, but if you think about it, a lot of Halloween attractions are pretty random over what we encounter inside them. But yeah, as you can see, here's the clinic. The maze just opens up into this building, and on the other side of the waiting room, you'll notice just something extremely eerie going on. But I love the creativity that this guy did inside here. As you can see, first off, he made his own little custom bridge right here by using a table to get across the water. And then I think he used like a dresser or something to step down into the water from the table. Pretty creative. There's also a bed down here that you can lay in. I don't know what that's all about. But he also created his own little custom like Halloween decoration. As you can see here, he stacked a bunch of cabinets and had the smoke machine in the back of the Wendigo Colossus trophy there to make it seem like it was shooting out that smoke. He also made it so the sign below it said die instead of peer, as you can see. Pretty creative to make it seem like a monster or something is dwelling inside here. But yeah, that's about it for this camp. Alrighty, so get ready for an adventure for this next creation. This camp is called Terror House, and it was created by a content creator that goes by NukaViolet. If you want to see the full tour over this, I'll have a link in the description to her video. But just some things that I wanted to highlight over this build that I enjoyed. As you can see, it starts off by you dropping down into this cave system. I thought alone this was an extremely unique experience. Like I said before, get ready to be taken on an adventure going through this place. There are just loads of decorations around, and creative ones too, where she created like her own style by blending them together. But yeah, some other things that I wanted to highlight about this camp, besides just the cave atmosphere that you get to experience, are once again all the decorations that she had around. Because of them, the entire time that you're going through this, it actually does feel as if you're going through some kind of attraction when going through this. You'll notice the entire time when going through this tour, you'll see some spooky decorations left and right. I specifically like this little setup she did here with the wall mounts. She has the mole rat wall mount inside the rad toad wall mount. It's definitely a creative way of combining the wall mounts. Anyways, also, as you can see here, she even has a scare actor set up to potentially give someone a jump scare. I thought that was pretty neat to add while going through this. Just a little further up though, I really like this part about the attraction because it becomes even more like a tunnel system. It starts to get even more condensed. And not to mention in this area, once again, there are just loads of decorations set up around creatively. Such as, for some examples, this scorched beast looking like it's about to eat this rabbit. Up above too, the Scorched Beast Queen looking like she caught Santa Claus. But yeah, then as you can see, this is when the attraction starts becoming this little tunnel system, which I thought was pretty creative. She also did some other makeshift decorations, such as, for one, this hanging skeleton combined with this scarecrow to make it seem a little different than your typical scarecrow that you come across. Thought that was pretty unique. She also, of course, made an area where you can get your candy at before exiting out of the attraction, because we are nearing the end. I could sit here and go on about every little thing about this camp, but to wrap it up, since we have more to cover, as you can see, you'll come across this little section here on your left, and then you'll come across this little setup she has, and then right outside of that area, you'll see this place. And I thought it was pretty interesting how she has the pictures set up. I thought that was a unique way to make your pictures seem a bit more spooky. And of course, you know, the bloody meat pile on the table makes it even more spooky at this setup. But yeah, after this room, up here leads to the exit. And that is the end of the attraction. Overall though, a pretty unique camp. Okay, so next up here, I have a camp called Treehouse of Terrible Things. And this was created by Stormy Sky 369. I guess first off, let me go ahead and show you the location of this tree, in case you may want to try to build something incorporated with this tree. As you can see, Stormy built this over here next to Harper's Ferry. It's located right here on the side of the road. It's pretty easy to spot out because, for one, it's huge, and there's a telephone pole leaning on it as well. But yeah, anyways, getting back into the build, Stormy did mention how her goal out of this camp was to be something a little different from your typical haunted house that you may see around Halloween. She said she was going for like a mad scientist type vibe here, and I feel like she really did pull it off, especially when we head on up inside the treehouse. Which, by the way, I am liking the lighting on the outside, and I like how she has like little cutouts in the windows at the top too. It just adds a little bit of extra spooky to it. Anyway, some other things that I liked on the outside before heading on in is, for one, this Deathclaw tank. I really like this. She also showed the glitch on how she did this exactly over on her YouTube channel if you want to go check that out. I have a link down below in the description. She explained how she created 4 different things within this camp build. So if you see something set up kind of unusual, she might have explained how she did that in that video. But yeah, anyways, also something else that I thought was pretty creative and definitely spooky is how she combined these bloody meat piles with this dumpster. It looks as if the dumpster is overflowing with them. Definitely a spooky but creative setup. I gotta say, just starting off, wow. The architecture to this build is awesome. Really like it. I don't know how long it took Stormy exactly to get the walls, the roof, and, you know, the frame of the treehouse to intertwine with the tree. But I know if it was me, it would have took forever. I've built a treehouse in the past, and just getting the frame set up around the tree to make it seem like it was actually a part of the tree took an insane amount of like tearing down and rebuilding to try to get it to flow correctly. Like, if I was happy with my frame of the treehouse, I ended up not being happy with the walls and the roof because it wasn't flowing with the tree itself, and it just seemed off. It didn't seem like a treehouse. So yeah, it took a lot of destroying and rebuilding. I don't know how long it took Stormy exactly to get the frame all set up and good to go before adding all the decorations and whatnot, but I know if it was me, it would have took hours upon hours. But yeah, once again, I'm just really impressed over the architecture of this build, and not to mention the theme to it as well. I feel like Stormy really hammered it with the mad scientist vibe going on in here. It seems like the mad scientist is doing some kind of experiments on the creatures here inside the cages. Like, you can find a snallygaster, a scorch beast, which, by the way, this scorch beast looks like it's eating through the door. You know how the door kind of has like holes in it here and there? It looks as if the scorch beast was doing that to the door. I don't know. Thought that was kind of creative. And also there's a Mothman over here in a cage as well. And by the way, these are just wall mounts inside these cages, in case some of you may be curious about that. Yeah, these are just wall mounts, but still, pretty unique way to use the wall mounts instead of them just hanging on your walls or whatever. Kind of reminds me of a zoo setup, except these cages are extremely small. Also, something else that I really wanted to point out about this build is the freaking railing at the top of this place where the mad scientist dwells at, as you can see. But yeah, I mean, check out this custom railing with the staircase. This custom railing is made out of conduits attached to a post on the other end. It looks really nice. The first time I saw this, I was blown away just by this little railing made out of conduits. I don't know, thought it was pretty creative. Speaking of posts, something else that I wanted to highlight about this build is a bit of the modern look that Stormy incorporated over on the right side of the treehouse. As you can see, Stormy created a wall using the post. I feel like this style is simple and unique to add sometimes to our builds. I guess it depends on what you're exactly building, you know, but I feel like here with the treehouse, it helped it a bit more. Overall, this camp build and its theme was really well done. Okay, so this next one is a funhouse that was created by a guy who goes by FreeBand666 on the Xbox. And I have to say, this funhouse is really well done and highly decorated going through. And something else that I really liked about this is that the creator said he didn't use much Atomic Shop items, which was true. When I went through this funhouse, I didn't see much Atomic Shop items being used. And he got it highly decorated, as you can see here. But yeah, not only does this funhouse seem like we're going through some kind of spooky Halloween attraction, but there are some stopping points where we're going to have to figure out the codes to unlock these doors to progress further through this place. Such as, for one example, here's one of the first stopping points. The code to this door is actually underneath the door itself. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I did this, I was looking around the room thinking they were hidden around there, but no, they're all just hidden underneath the door. Something easily passed up, and the creator did say he tried to make it friendly for all players getting through. He didn't try to make it too difficult. I felt kind of ashamed when he told me that because it took me a little bit to even find the numbers underneath the door there. But anyways, there's another stopping point where you have to decide which way you want to go. One way is the wrong way. It'll actually lead you outside and you'll have to redo the attraction. And the other way, of course, well, is the right way. But yeah, once you go through the right way, you'll end up coming to another stopping point. And this is another little thing that you have to solve within the attraction. You're going to have to find some numbers hidden around the room. Now, this is what I thought the first stopping point was going to be like, but no, that wasn't the case. And he actually hid the numbers really, really well throughout the room. One of the most hidden numbers is one that you pass right up going through the door. As you can see, he placed the number 8 right here at the bottom of the door frame. Anyways, after we solved that, that would lead us right back out to the very beginning. Overall, a really unique camp. I love experiencing these escape room style camps. They're a lot of fun and just add a little bit of extra fun factor in general for players to experience when exploring around the wasteland and visiting camps. It's just an extra little challenge for players to take on. Okay, so now for this last one, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the location for it, just because it's a unique one, and there are a couple Easter eggs here. Yeah, you can find this right underneath the Nuka-Cola plant right here. You'll notice that the inside of this house is set up kind of similar to the interior of a house that's located in Sanctuary, which, you know, that was the starting area in Fallout 4. Which there's also a Final Pam Easter egg in here too, and that was originated in Fallout 4 from Final Pam Monster Factory, which I don't honestly know too much about that, so I can't really explain it into detail all that much, but I will say it did involve marrying a rad roach, and as you can see, you can find a rad roach on the toilet in this building, and it does have a wedding ring on it. It's also equipped with a bowler hat and a walking cane as well. But yeah, that's besides the point. That's not what this is about. This guy, whose gamertag is xAfredKnotx, created this really well done Halloween attraction that you can experience blended with this house. Like, it is very well blended. The architecture outside seems as if, you know, you could find this actually in game. Doesn't seem too over the top or anything. But yeah, to do a quick tour of it, the entrance of it feels as if you would go in here to wait in line for your turn to go inside the attraction. It definitely feels like a waiting room of some sort. But yeah, when you enter into the attraction, you'll notice that you're in a tight corridor all of a sudden, which I thought was really unique. And you can see into that house that's referencing Fallout 4. And he actually added some little details inside there, which I thought was pretty cool. It's also really neat how well it actually blends with the Halloween attraction that he built around it. Like, that's just insane. There had to have been a lot of retakes to try to get this set up how it is. Like, it is really well blended. Anyways, yeah, further in the attraction though, you'll step over a pressure plate and that'll actually light up the room with the Final Pam Easter egg, which, by the way, that's once again the rad roach with the bowler hat and wedding ring, and also has a cane too. But yeah, I thought that was really unique about the attraction. Further progressing through this, you do encounter a few dead ends. I think you encounter like 2 or 3 once again, but I thought this was really unique. He created a hallway of mirrors, and the disco light really adds a lot within this area. I don't know. Really unique little experience there, going through the hallway of mirrors or whatever. I like how they also curved with the wall too. But anyways, when you head upstairs, this is actually getting near the exit, you'll experience a few other, you know, creepy things around inside this place, such as like wall mounts and side TVs. It looks as if they're coming out of the TV, like The Ring or something. But yeah, believe it or not, I have seen that idea quite a few times. It's a really nice one. Definitely a nice touch for, you know, the spooky vibes or whatever. But anyways, check out this. When you go down into this corridor here, you'll notice that a blue light lights up on that clown, which that just looks eerie. And also there's this here too, which that's supposed to be what I'm assuming catches your eye. So you'd be looking inside there and then walk over to pressure plate, and then all of a sudden to your right, you know, there's a clown over there lit up. I think that was the idea over that little setup there. But either way, this is extremely thought out. I mean, you can tell because the exit here, look how well it blends with the actual porch of the in-game house. Like, that's just ridiculous. It literally just wraps around where you can go through the attraction once again. I really dig the concept overall with this build. I don't even want to imagine how many retakes it really took to get it to blend how well this person got it to. Like, you can tell this was thought out. It wasn't just something rushed or whatever. And I also forgot to mention he added some candy that you can get too when you go through the attraction, which I like that concept. That's how some attractions are. But yeah, that's about wrapping up all of these camps. And if you missed the previous spooky camp showcase, the video should pop up here at the end where you'll be able to just click it and go straight to it. But yeah, I'm out of here, everyone. Thanks for taking the time watching and listening, and hopefully you all did find this enjoyable, especially the camp community. This is just one long video going over some creative camps. But yeah, I'm out of here though, everyone. Until next time, remember to try to stay safe out there during these unusual times. Peace.